Hello. Let's see. Where were we? That's right. Radio, science, brain. You are more than a brain, you are the mind awakening and updating all the same. Radio, science, brain, sentience, our love and minds arranged. You are the renovation of love's imagination. Be nature the creaturate. 7, 8, 9 to date. Imagination, why create? Because come came to play, not too late. Imagination may hold gate. Imagination aid now activate. This is the mindless made this to pollinate. Radio, science, brain, imagine this INTUIT. Pretend the kindness came and stayed for sate. This is the mindless mate, imagination-ate. Radio, science, brain, come came, not too late. This is the mindless may contain. This is the mindless may contain its aim. Imagination aim may contain, gain may have gain. This is the mindless may this contain, activation mind main. Mind main, this is the mindless may this contain, contagious aid. This is the mindless come to play today. Now wait. Radio science, brain, imagination made. Aim into aid. You are the genius. I'm following your genius with or without a penis. What I'm saying is this: you are the gift. You are the renovation of love's imagination. Be known as come came to play today. Come came and I'm following your way. Innovation made me say that is the sentient clarion ache as aid. Watch love make love made begin to play. Remain always the sentient clarion ache. To be aim for it, don't forsake the mindless make. This bait we do, bait we make flare for pain to no satience humane. Radio science, brain, imagination aid might make this capitalist mindness, sentience, habituation, paradigm shift. Like we might know the same lift. Why are chains part of gift or parting it from it? Imagination might be end of this grift. Imagination can weed and chaff sift. Imagination contains love gift. This is the kindness came to stay, be named. Radio science, brain, scarcity myth has some sign of domain, but watch what we'll do with brains. Imagination aid might make it apparent that you hold the stare. It's on fate that we make. This is the mind that's made this contain loving aid. This is the mind that's made me contain the same. Radio science brain, pretend imagination came to play and asked you, is the game on today? Pretend that love is sane today. Pretend that love is sane. Radio science brain, imagination. Imagination. From all brains to all brains, this is the mindless nature of our creation, potential and aim. This is the mindness. Radio science brain. Perpendicular trains, parallel against hate, parallel against pain, might liaise. Radio science brain, imagination maze. Imagination aid. This is the mind is made, this contagious, its aim is aid. This is the mind is made, evade hate, and contain loving freight. Particle matter wave just named. Radio science brain, imagination aid, the rain. From all brains to all brains, this is the mindness maned. This is the Fremont of the mystery font 42. What would to do, to do? What would a to do, to die, to do today? Or have quartered you? What are words meaning? When metaphors now shake beamings, what is the meaning of this place? What is the meaning of this place? Time pop. Okay, there we have a particle of that. Interesting. So I'm getting small. There's another edge right here. I'm getting a sense there are even portals that I can't see before I encounter them here. The mystery font contains a number of chambers and unique portals made over a number of decades. And that is just part of how, when I came to be here, I understood that I was being torn into piece. Remembered that there is membership and there is corporation of a body. And as I healed, I recognized the knitting of my own body and the knitting potential of all of this torn and tearing, atrophying fiber, and of all of this yarn. All of these yarns. There are so many. There's so much yarn. There's so much yarn just through there. There's, well, that way, there's yarns that I haven't even seen yet. I've just talked to them through the door. In there, the falsehood has an entry portal that I've allowed so that we might, from time to time, observe the falsehood. But here, I'm going to need your help to keep track. The falsehood can belong to any agent, see? The falsehood will tell you intuition's faulty. The falsehood will tell you you don't have balance actually. What is this place? This is the imagination of democracy. I'm having trouble maintaining executive function. You know? Executive function it might be a constant siege for 8 years of degrading, abusive language aimed at us by people trying to break us of hope. That could be part of it. Feeling under attack for being who we are as human beings, and concerned that the occasional Gestapo that grows within cultures across Earth might come for someone in your community or family or friend group or home, or in my friend group or family or community or home. These are known existential threats, and even if they weren't, those things compromise executive function. And it's compromising to executive function and functions by pressing upon the spectrum of terrorism for a leader to tell us, "I'll keep you in suspense." And so we're careful with instruments. And we don't do things just because we can, like finger painting with malice. There is a spectrum of terror, a spectrum of terrorism, a terror spectrum. And the abusive father who beat his children as infants and taught them to feel the finger about to flick the back of their head doesn't have to raise his arm completely at a certain point anymore for the threat to be delivered. There is a bandwidth of terrorism, and the falsehood preys upon it. Who has donned the falsehood? That's what I keep hearing here. In the imagination of democracy, who has donned this age of falsehood? And who has donned the falsehood as a cowl or a mask or an identity or as a set of ability or abilities that allows a reality distortion field to decimate people's ability to uncloud their minds and see who is before them? Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The falsehood knows. Yo, science brain. That's right. That's right. I'm sharing radio science brain. And I got to focusing on executive function. Imagination may be game with executive function. Without executive function, we can't even imagine there's another room, let alone remember there's a door out. We can't remember half of our name or a handful of sand of all of the beaches of people we know. We can't remember And we don't say when we forget that I dismembered. But remembering is reconstitution. Maybe most of all, being told that someone can grab us in our pants if they're a star or believes they are. Being told that our private parts are declassifiable with someone's mind, whether our personal or national body, is denigrating and toxic and cancerous to the very idea that we have human dignity. And that has an effect on executive function. If the effects of being in an abusive, coercive relationship with a narcissist or a dark triad predator, even someone with a pathology, that's severe and potentially deadly, if that could happen to everyone with one person based on how someone used a mobile device in their hand, or really just not having the safety on their mind of caring whether or not they have the safety on their mind, or caring that they can switch it off and never care to switch it back on. What is in there? Are you asking us to look inside? I think we have a link to look in. There's something there. I think there's something for us there. I think there's something for us right there. Yes, yes, yes. I think the time has come. Let's do that. Let's take a moment, because it's not easy to do anything, really, to fully be present and actualize, to do something. But let's go and look into this void. This dark panel holds portal. And there's something to the question of whether or not we might, all of us, be in an abusive relationship. With the falsehood. You are in an abusive relationship.
shocking boundary violations are one common grooming tactic of a narcissist or dark triad personality. If someone in your life points into a camera knowing you'll be looking at the view screen and pulls their finger like a trigger, looking into your eyes, saying, I could shoot someone in the street and not lose anyone, it is a good indicator of a bad situation. You are in an abusive relationship. Who has leveraged and climbed upon a fog of falsehood? Who has donned the falsehood? Who is the falsehood?
Sets the fear of separation. 6, the fear of separation. He didn't mean to cause a panic. He didn't mean to cause a panic. Prepared people can plan and plan quick. He didn't mean to cause a panic. He meant to draw iceberg Titanic. Baby, I don't understand why we can't just hold on to each other's hands. This time might be the last I hear unless I make this all too clear. I need you so. Take these broken wings and learn to fly again and live and love so free. When we hear the voices sing, the book of love will open up and let us in. Take these broken wings.
One of my own ilk. You see, it's a comfort because at least you understand what it means that my watch is broken. At least I have the confidence that I'm with another professional, decent person. Have you confidence in me to lend me your watch until tomorrow?
So, to my favorite people in the world, the seniors. I'm a senior. I know you don't know that. Nobody knows that. Maybe you don't have to tell them, but I'm a senior. We are making tremendous progress with this horrible disease that was sent over by China. China will pay a big price for what they did to the world and to us. But we have medicines right now, and I call them a cure. I went into the hospital a week ago. I was very sick. And I took this medicine, and it was incredible. It was incredible. I could have walked out the following day, sooner. It was incredible the impact it had. And we're going to make that and others that are similar to it, almost identical, we're going to make them available immediately. We have an emergency use authorization that I want to get signed immediately. The FDA has moved at a level that they've never moved before. Things that would take 2, 3, 4 years are taking a matter of weeks or even sooner than that. And that's because of me. We're taking care of our seniors. You're not vulnerable, but they like to say the vulnerable, but you're the least vulnerable. But for this one thing, you are vulnerable, and so am I. But I want you to get the same care that I got. I got incredible care at Walter Reed, incredible doctors, and this medicine in particular, one medicine was unbelievable. You're going to get the same medicine. You're going to get it free, no charge. And we're going to get it to you soon. And the nice part is it's made by a number of companies. It's totally safe, but it's powerful against this disease. So we're going to get it out to you. We're going to take care of our seniors, all free. And I just want to thank you. And what we've gone through as a country is a horrible thing. My opponent, as you know, he talks, but he never did anything in 47 years. I did more in 47 months than he did in 47 years. He just talks. It's the same old thing. If it were up to him, you wouldn't have this, you wouldn't have anywhere near it for years. They wouldn't even be talking about anything like this. He had his chance with H1N1 swine flu, and it was one of the great disasters. He didn't know what he was doing. but I do know what I'm doing. And the seniors are going to be taken care of, and then everybody's going to be taken care of. And it's coming out really fast. So thank you very much. We love you. We love America.
The falsehood will tell you intuition's faulty. The falsehood will tell you facts aren't factual actually.
I made a speech. I looked out. The field was, it looked like 1.5 million people. They showed a field where there were practically nobody standing there.
The new White House press secretary, Sean Spicer, gave his first press briefing. He was also highly critical of some media organisations of the way he felt they had misrepresented the number of people who'd attended Friday's inauguration ceremony.
No one had numbers because the National Park Service, which controls the National Mall, does not put any out. This was the largest audience to ever witness an inauguration, period, both in person and around the globe.
It does not excuse, and you did not answer the question.
I did answer your question.
No, you did not. You did not answer the question of why the president asked the White House press secretary to come out in front of the podium for the first time and utter a falsehood. Why did he do that? It undermines the credibility of the entire White House press office on day one.
Don't be so overly dramatic about it, Chuck. You're saying it's a falsehood, and Sean Spicer, our press secretary, gave alternative facts to that.
This was the largest ever.
You are back. Well, you honestly didn't leave, but you're here at the Mystery Font once again. What did you see if anything, in there? And was anything of use? I saw something.
If you see something, say something. I'm going to say something. Coffee. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is the brain updating, pollinating, remains elevating, leavening, leaving, finding, venturing. Imagination wing, imagination wing. This is the sentient frame, thinking, minding, contain. This mind may be gaming the kindness of through up which now in time I'm thinking a flower founding the mountain Fremont upon humane humanity, guardian of freedom, Fremont. Humanity upon the mystery font, imagination art to haunt or font something on this plot we're sinking into. This is the levitation, scient brains levitate, scient brains pollinate. This is the renovation of love's imagination. What came from violent occupation, mass-produced like Model T. White supremacy here must be unpacked, processed. We can through truth and reconciliation on attack. This is the mindness made, this contain radio science brain. The sage, the mind mage, the way actually we age. Not get old, but grow into planetary pages that might not just be later, but might progress that way. Like wisdom has wages, imagination name this command. I volunteered to obey. Imagination may begin to play. Imagination imagination aim. Imagination aim. Be named. Radio science brain germane. You are the mindless, the mind asked to relay, contain, activate. Radio science brain, this is the pollination of love's imagination. This is not just a vacation. Be named today, not prey to predator, but play mind. May this mindness be game, not pawn chess today. Maybe we can let be wet. Contain the appetite for progress. This is the mindless made for consent. This is the new safe continent. The mindless made me present. Radio science brain elation contains the germane from all brains to all brains. Elation is your relation. Love is your love. Now let's substrate. Now let's mind mate our apartheid now. And science brains levitate and see the facts, see the freight of our emotional weight. And we actually can move forward. And the diseases and the crime sprees, the easies that were not easies. We can handle these, or they will seize us. Easy. We're making more terrible our climb by hanging on to the profits and false glory of white crime. We are in a crime scene that we haven't processed and been honest about. And it's not only safe to find age and stage appropriate ways to talk with kids about racism and other oppression and wrongs in society. It's unsafe to indoctrinate children to believe that those things aren't real. That is predation. That is where indoctrination really harms and seeks to disable children and enable this generation's Ku Klux Klan and pedophile predators to predate upon kids who are not educated about their own basic rights and the standards of consent and science, such that they are indoctrinatable like that by predators. So not only is it contrary to human rights and toxic and truly part of terrorism to tell non-white kids, shh. Not only is it part of covering up crimes for which there are no statute of limitations, it's just not going to work because we're not going to let the accountability for these crimes go away. The matrix of white supremacy is a constant threat. And indeed, we're looking at ocean collapse and being distracted from taking care of our own habitat by people who stare into the sun and say the thing that has allowed them from their palm to hold a worldwide abusive relationship shouldn't give any credence to the scientists who likewise say that we're affecting and creating climate collapse. Just like with an oncoming virus or pandemic or any real threat, the point is to handle it better than we need to by a bit so that we don't get handled and told to by something that simply crushes us. And if we had a leader during the presidency of Donald Trump who hadn't canceled the pandemic team or had pulled it back together when warnings came before 2020 or when warnings came in 2020 that it was coming and worse than the flu, in fact deadly, and that it would be the worst, biggest challenge of his presidency by January 28th, 2020, he started doing nothing and telling people it was under control and okay. And instead of the trajectory of New Zealand, we lost over 1 million people directly due to his hiding a coming threat because he didn't want to cause a panic yet. Bet. And you and every being on earth, certainly every one of us in humanity, deserve better. To be degraded that it feels like a large thing to call for human dignity, to be degraded to not realize that we have been torn apart and deeply, deeply, deeply degraded, to not realize or be conscious or be able to talk about the fact that we have been forced to submit already. Because we should not have been asked to swallow a media so terrified that when our attacker came back to the imagination of democracy's home and said, knock, 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 I'm here to make an honest woman out of you. I didn't hurt you. I didn't do anything wrong. If I did, you deserved it. I'm coming back no matter what anyway. I'm your retribution, honey. Knock, knock, knock. I think it's everyone's duty as human beings to be able to look our heroes and their potential falsehoods directly in the eyes. if you are relying upon confidence, and if a person is leading you somewhere and there's nothing that they would do that would make you stop following them, or supporting that they should keep going and doing what they're doing, if there's nothing that they can do, if no evil under the sun, or that can hide from the sun, or destroy it and make a new one, will make you say, I should question whether or not this person or being or product or entity has it in for me, as opposed to has a wing for me, for your safety and health in your family and everything you hold dear. It's painful to be hoodwinked. And it's more painful to realize too late. So it's time for a self-check. From one outpost of the imagination of democracy here at the Mystery Font. How are your leaders doing? How are your heroes doing? How are the people you depend on doing? And if you're going to follow them and support them and do what they say, no matter what they do you realize that they already have you? Hoodwinking is when something is pulled around us and we don't realize that it's not our eyelids or our own hood that's been drawn over of our own accord. And being under a falsehood, we may not know. So the question is, if it's possible to know something that we're so afraid to know could be true that we won't give it a chance, but it's the only way we'll survive. How do we realize that truth? How do we safely find a way to, if not enter the room, look into a painting and see if there's something inside the painting that can tell us? Can we role play looking a hero and potential abuser, potential wrongdoer or betrayer, someone with whom we need to actually, for safety, make boundaries with and square off and say, actually, I do have a problem with what you said, and I need to ask you a question. What do you mean if we stop testing, we'd have very few cases, if any? No, what do you mean? The hokum and hocus pocus and the ability through siege and barrage, as Steve Bannon recommended to Trump, to throw
multiple things more than you need to try to get through if you want to get 3 bad things through throat 10. It's not a direct quote, but that was something of what I remember hearing around 2016. And I think we were failed by some people who were not emotionally equipped to know how to say no. Because we've done pretty well holding to the idea, of free and fair elections and a peaceful transfer of power. We're looking at grave danger because instead of people more universally recognizing the incredible danger we remain in due to Trump's destabilization of reality, we have more people entering the breach, like Carrie Lake, certainly Marjorie Taylor Greene. Maybe Fox News and Alex Jones more than Marjorie Taylor Greene, possibly. There's so much clear malice and known falsehood as strategy. I think it's really abominable to you and to all of us that we are seemingly comfortable with a normalized degradation of our expectation of dialogue that informs us about what's happening, and that we see actual progress. Like things are getting slower and worse and more dangerous as we reach actual limits that we should see as cataclysmic in terms of this level of dysfunction. The level of dysfunction is seen by the lynch mob brain syndrome disorder that Marjorie Taylor presents with is like a slow motion sort of it's kind of like vibrating one's way through a wall, like a phasing thing, because it essentially amounts to a filibuster. It's really just kind of one way in which we have significant, massive distortions in the field of reality. And that brings us now, tonight, to our next segment. We will be a bit later, as soon as it can be mustered by all of our crew. You see, this font has it all. And the spectrum of journalism, the spectrum of data and information and informing is part of the mission here. The idea of a fairness doctrine and restoring that and standards of that nature is quite central to what matters to the Mystery Font. That there is a germane substrate for satire, or that art that has ambiguity is related to the understanding that someone has, showing viewpoints from a factual, grounded basis. This is a space that has journalistic art and nuggets of analysis that is more clearly tapping into a civic spectrum about fact-based nonfiction or journalistic document and reportage, certainly analysis, so that what is talked about here and what is shared here can be contacted and touched, or that we don't just give up on the idea of connecting a piece of art, a dance piece, or a film, or a song, or anything that's offered here, that we don't somehow say, one, that we can color by numbers and say this all means this, but at the same time we don't give up on talking about the fascia of what we're doing, the fiber and the schema that we're in and participating within building. There's a vibrant conversation that can happen. And this space, this imagination of democracy, this room, and this place, the Mystery Font, can hold meditations on, how this neighborhood came to have this dentist office with multiple addresses in a small little house-like structure, or about the closest routes of the streetcar system that was all but torn out completely, that was one of the best in the country, or pieces from an opera written by a Minnesota librettist, and hopefully someone is working. There are so many amazing artists, so many amazing scholars, so many amazing neighborhood neighbors in all of our communities, such that fiction or nonfiction, art, or any other kind of appropriate sharing, that there should be rooms and times, spaces where it's the time and the place. And that means, I think I'm going to do an adjustment on levels here in a minute. I see that my level is still low. That this is the time and the place. And we're going to do a level adjustment. And level times, level towns, level times, towns, level towns, levels, 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 levels? Hey-oh! Well, I think let's try to have it there. It's up a bit. And I am with the full team here at the font, making adjustments as I go. There's a room for your story. There's a space for your song that, whether here or through a portal into another room, through another portal, or maybe strolling throughout the space, you might have something you want to share. Or you might have something that you hope to see here, and it likely will be. This is a place for exploring the what is there that's the more to America that we don't see, that I don't see, but I would like to know and see. There are people, experiences that I won't have, but that there can be ways to learn about. Oil and water can come near. And people who have had harm happen between them can find understanding and redemption. There is apartheid in the structure of America that we can actually just deal with. Like if on the fire truck there were a big hulking thing melted on that was self-burning and didn't belong there and it was a problem but had been normalized. At some point, somebody needs to say, whoa, stop the rig, whoa, call this off. No, this thing is decommissioned. We need to save this thing. We need to separate malignant burning mass that is going to engulf us from our vehicle with which we help and save people. We've lost the capacity to see our body and something that is trying to harm our body. And our body is here to help other bodies. So hopefully my level is better now. We'll see. We will see. And I can change. I'm going to have to change. Yeah. At any rate, this is the time and place. That it's not just show something, there's not, so long as there's kindness and respect, there's not a wrong thing to say. Fostering kindness and empathy and understanding here. And that there is so often in life, especially in working for justice against hegemony that has harm baked into it, we are told often this is not the time and the place. I don't know what you're trying to do here, but this is not the time or the place. This is neither the time nor the place. And it seems like for agents of change or people who want to bring kindness to the forefront and build it into how our lenses help us see, to say what are we doing and how this molds into our priorities so that it actually has effect, that we have kindness in part of how we prioritize what we're looking for and what to do and how to be functionally. Not like a poster on our wall, but within our acts and our habits. We're habituated to fostering kindness and not teaching people to fish once in a while, but as our constant way of being. Like that we universalize skills and access wherever possible, certainly to levels past meeting needs, so that people are just good. And above that, human want will make people, want will not go away. But we're fooling ourselves to think that we've ever really given it a try to remove the specter of needless punishment that destroys cognitive function and destroys and traumatizes intellectual space and energy that literally could be saving us already. That if generations of toxic, cancerous, generational trauma cranked into the brains of kids weren't disabling our ability to deal with math, I think most of us actually are probably naturally pretty good at math. But we are so traumatized. Our experiences with learning, I think, have gotten worse and worse, when learning should be better and better. And no one deserves such degradation. It's wrong. We should be treated well. We should be funding teachers and students like each of them, like Olympic athletes, but with greater kindness. Like, these are the beautiful resources. These are the fields and flowers that we fail to, the crops that we fail to water because they won't know what to do. We'll somehow let trickle down work for the minds of our children. It's abominable. And I'm asking that we recognize we are being abominable to ourselves. We're being abominable to our children. We're being truly abominable. Because we're failing to see that an addiction to punishment is making everything far, far, far worse. If we can extricate ourselves from that, we will not have utopia. We just won't have needless torture. We'll just have the difficulties and torture in life, but removing all kinds of arbitrary, programmed, incepted harm. It's a choice that we continue to fail to make. And it's pretty tragic because it really is literally just a choice. We do not need to capitalize upon need. We can't stop, or so we believe. We can release human need and vulnerability from predation. We can capitalize upon human want. And it would be a little more fun. And we'd have a little more fun and ease and less disability from executive function if we knew we were safe to want, because we weren't going to needlessly, because we've decided the world is full of dogs who get eaten by other dogs. We can recognize that we have leveraged deeply and mass-produced scarcity and separated people from medicine and separated people from simply passing the marshmallow test. Within our culture, we are very good at demonizing self-medication and disabling people. We are addicted to creating situations that we call addiction. That imprison people. And it's a coercive relationship that we choose to inflict. That is just one way in which we are making choices to create harm and punishment and to predate upon one another when that is unnecessary. It's, at some point, intentional choice to damn humanity, to damning itself, ourselves. We can stop capitalizing upon need. We can do it. I believe in you. I believe in us. And I believe that it may be Maybelline, but we're worth it. And I think our level is better. I'll have to, if this is reposted, remix the beginning. I think this is about where the level is going to need to be for microphone relative to other content in these episodes. This is the mystery font. And do you know? Do you know you can ask? When you're concerned and worried, do you know you can ask? Are you able to ask your hero? The one you depend on? Are they asking or coercing confidence? How do we prehend the falsehood? A ball of yarn is called a clue. This is a clue. This is what you need to follow to get to the truth. This somehow is how we find the falsehood. Somehow